Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Taking Over. I am OLED Ed Fries, and I'm joined by the one and only, the natural, Astrid Pizarro. NXT recovered this week.
Yes. I'm glad they did. They needed.
I didn't want to worry too much, but last week had me a bit on my heels because it wasn't a great show. However, this week they rebounded. The timing felt right. They didn't shove 10 million things into 1 week. Everything got time to breathe, sort of. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It was a good time. We got some friends in the chat. Let's go ahead and say hello to them. We've got our favorite friend, Bobby Munson, the video bro, who's been going live for a short period of time playing his Mario RPG. So make sure you're going ahead and checking him out to see when and where he might pop in to go ahead and do a stream. I know I saw it yesterday for about 20 minutes and today for a little bit. I know he was live. I knew. I told her as soon as I saw him on screen that you were going to be a happy man. Barry Monkey, I agree. This week was wonderful. I don't know why I went full Matt Hardy there, but it felt right.
Yeah, I was about to say wonderful. Yes,
it was certainly wonderful. But yeah, it was. He was indeed on the show. We thought of you. Two of his favorite people were pictured, at least on screen, because we also saw photos of Dominic Mysterio losing his North American Championship at one point as well. So always nice to see Dominic losing that North American Championship, even though I will still attest he is WWE Wrestler of the Year. But we're not here to talk about that. I already talked about that, and you can go ahead and check out that video somewhere else. But Astrid, what did you think about Trick Mello versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade?
As we say nowadays, 10-10, no notes. No, it was a great opener though. It was one of those that I was not taking notes. I was just glued to what I was watching, just loving every second of it. I love the chemistry between both teams, the crowd, the energy, like the high pacing of it, the fast pace, like the back and forth, everything. I'm like, everything happened during this match. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that this was the opener for this week.
We got Sean Cena joining us. We haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for coming back, Sean Cena. We greatly appreciate it. I thought this match was great. I really enjoyed this match. They got about the first 15 minutes of the broadcast were dedicated to this match with, going ahead and having the Trick Mello entrances, having Blade and Enofe come in polka dots. Well, Enofe was in polka dots. Blade had the headband at one point with the polka dots on it. Also, little lesser noticed thing. I don't know if anybody else caught this. Blade was also wearing a Hard Times t-shirt. One of them was wearing a t-shirt that said Hard Times on it, which I thought was nice. No, they had a great match here. I think this is Enofe and Blade's best match by far and away. Yeah, absolutely by far and away their best match so far. They showed out in good timing too. You got Trick Mello in there who are going to guarantee you a good match. However, Blade botched that finish. Blade is a big man who does not need to jump into Trick Mello's jumping knee. And it made it look very awkward at the very end of this match when Trick hit that running knee. Although I did like how well Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams worked in this match. Very good job by them. They get the win. They move on to the next round. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So before we move on, because we're going to get to Sean Cena's in a minute, but I have to deal with this first. I'm glad I converted you, Ed. I feel like John the Baptist converting people to the way of Dom. A Dom the Baptist. No, I don't like nor respect Dominic Mysterio. However, as an objective observer, there's nobody else on the WWE roster that had a better year working as many big names and big matches and big storylines as Dominic Mysterio. And that includes a man who was not beaten the entirety of the year in a singles match by pinfall or submission, that apparently we found out last night on Raw, in Seth Rollins. Seth had a bunch of big matches, but none of it felt like it was really all that important. Gunther had a lot of big matches, almost all of which happened on TV. Dominic Mysterio was the best of both worlds because of the fact that he was on television, not only on Raw, but on NXT. He was having important title matches on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. If you even 1 week he wrestled on all three, depending North American on each brand. On top of that, he was part of the dominant story on Raw, which is the Judgment Day story. And he became one of the top stories on NXT as well with the North American Championship. That being said, he still has the most punchable face in wrestling, and he's still the worst member in Judgment Day, with the exception... No. Also, leave that. He is the worst member of the Judgment Day.
No exceptions there.
JD McDonough is no longer in Judgment Day, so he doesn't count. Mm-hmm. Of course, the best member of Judgment Day is, well, it's Rhea. Let's be honest, it's Rhea. Mm-hmm. And then just behind Rhea is R-Truth. It's absolutely R-Truth. And then Damian. And then Finn. Mm-hmm. And then way below Finn is Dominic. Ed, just be honest, Dom has replaced Jay White as Excuse me, you don't want him to replace Jay White. Nobody should want the Jay White slot. Our local enhancement talents also work with everyone and have lots of matches. Yes, but they're not often important matches to our wonderful overlords at our local establishment. Was the Brooklyn Brawler ever Wrestler of the Year? Again, no. But he also, other than the one time he beat Triple H for the World Championship, which didn't count, apparently, other than that, he never wrestled any important matches either. Except the other one match that he almost won the world title from Bret Hart. But again, that's a what if that we have to get into at another time.
Enough about Dom, though. Enough about Dom. We're going to lose our viewers here tonight talking about Dom.
All right. We want to get to one of the main things we want to talk about. I was going to save this for when we get to the women's battle royal. But yes, a speedy recovery to Cora Jade. Cora Jade did, as we find out on NXT, suffer a torn ACL, was confirmed by WWE today. We all found out about it yesterday. However, NXT has decided to kayfabe a legitimate injury in a way. NXT told us tonight, whether that was just Vic Joseph oopsieing or not, said that Cora Jade was injured by Wren Sinclair. And then Wren Sinclair took Cora's spot in this match. Wren Sinclair did not injure Cora Jade. Cora Jade was injured in a match against Lyra Valkyria in the main event of the Dade City show. So NXT is using the Cora Jade injury to propel Wren Sinclair. Who's Wren Sinclair, you might ask? Well, it's Astrid's favorite new signing, Maddie Renkowski.
Oh my God, he learned it. Look at you.
I had to look it up. I'm like, she looks familiar. Where have I seen her before?
Yeah.
It's because Astrid made me look at about 30,000 pictures of her when I kept telling her I have no clue who this is.
It was not that many.
It's a lot.
No.
Anyways, we got Fallon Henley coming in, and she says that everybody enjoyed last week. And I go, no. Everybody did not enjoy last week, Miss Fallon Henley. I enjoyed seeing Tiffany on my TV screen. However, did not need to see her mucking stalls. I did not need to see her washing a horse. I mean, I wasn't too unhappy when she got pushed in the water, but, let's leave it at that. But top shelf Fallon Henley, which still feels like a really bad catchphrase, is it? Top shelf Fallon Henley says this week it's time to get back to business and win the Battle Royal. And then she says, if I get in that fatal 4-way, it's Astrid's favorite time. What time is it?
Yeehaw, bitch. Yes.
Ari Monkey said, I read Cora Jade can't wrestle. I thought, well, I know. But soon turned out to be an injury, so get well soon. I love Barry's dry wit there. But, I mean, she isn't the best in-ring wrestler. Let's be honest. She still needs some work. However, once she's recovered, she'll have plenty of time to get some work. And as she tweeted today after NXT ended, it's only when we lose everything that we get to do anything. For those that don't know, Cora Jade is also now available because apparently her and Braun Breaker have broken up. Real bad time for all this to happen. She breaks up with her boyfriend, she has her birthday, and then she gets hurt. Interesting week in the life of little Miss Cora Jade, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We then get the North American title recap going back from Deadline all the way to last week where we saw Oba Femi. Oba! Go ahead and get the win. Love that. It was a nice quick video package to remind anybody who may not have stuck around to the end of the show when they found out Lexis King was in the main event. And if you want to hear more about Lexis King, definitely go check out, the best interviewer in the business. Sorry, Astrid, I apologize. The best interviewer in the business, Chris Van Vliet, who has Lexis King on this week's episode of Insights with Chris Van Vliet. So definitely, if you get the chance, go over to his Twitter page, find the link, and go ahead and give it a listen. I intend to do that tomorrow so I can listen to it while I work. But I've heard good things about the interview, so I'm excited to see what's going on with that. We then see Lola and Elektra talking about winning the tag team match tonight. And Elektra wants to win the Battle Royal because if she wins the Battle Royal, then the match at Vengeance Day becomes a triple threat. Because then Lola can use her contract to make it a triple threat to guarantee that, and this is the very important part that I think led to everything that we found out about later, one of us becomes champion. I don't think Lola liked one of us.
No.
At this moment, Tatum Paxley pops up from behind them through the window with some kind of a feather and says that, no, she's going to win the Battle Royal so that Lyra Valkyria doesn't have to defend the title at Vengeance Day. You know what? The most interesting thing going on in the women's division is this Tatum Paxley story. I don't care about anything else in the women's division right now other than that storyline.
I just think it's funny though because it reminds me of Trick Mello. The way that Carmelo reacts to everything with Trick later, it just reminds me of Lola and Elektra.
Yeah, it was all kinds of weird shit going on tonight. We then get Oba with his first in-ring promo. And you know what? He killed it here. I mean, he was fantastic. Great job by Oba Femi here. He talks with power. He talks with respect. He talks with a voice that got the crowd to listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly than anything else I noticed, on his name card where it says Oba Femi, on both sides of it, it says ruler. So he's going to be taking on this I'm the ruler, almost like a Sid Vicious one. I'm the ruler of the world kind of thing. He's going to take on this. And he talks about it here. He says he was a Nigerian prince. Now, anybody who has an email has heard about fake Nigerian princes. So I don't know if I can believe my big man Oba on this one. Because just remember, if Oba emails you and tells you he needs your social security number for money, and he's going to give you thousands and thousands of dollars, don't do it. It's not good. Don't do it. But I think he cuts a really good promo here. Out comes Dragon Lee. And Dragon Lee says, hey, congratulations. You took advantage of an opportunity. You had that contract. You cashed it in at the perfect time to give yourself an opportunity to win the North American Championship. I just hope that you give others the opportunity that I've been giving people with my open challenges, that Wes Lee gave people with his open challenges. And Oba Femi just looks at him and goes, no. He goes, fuck your open challenges, essentially. He wants nothing to do with his open challenge bullshit. Mm-hmm. Good job, Oba Femi. Smart man. Fuck the open challenge. Make them earn a shot. Make sure you can train for your opponent. This is the one thing I like. Like, it makes sense to not do open challenges.
Yeah.
Especially not weekly. Like, if you want to stay champion, you need to make sure that you know who you're fighting and fight the guy you're fighting.
No, and you're a champion. You call the shots, not the person. And if you do an open challenge, it's the person calling the shots, basically.
Agreed. And this is where Dragon Lee gets all uppity, because Dragon Lee's like, excuse you? Well, fine. I want my contractual rematch at Vengeance Day. And Oba's like, maybe. He's like, I'll think about it, and walks away. Oba Femi is fantastic. Because he's got this, he's dry and he's like basic, but he's everything WWE wanted Omos to be, except that he's small.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, that this is Omos, but like a better version of Omos.
He can talk a little bit better than Omos. And again, because Omos isn't a bad talker, but they don't let him talk. So you really don't get the idea. But Oba's better anyways. I'm just saying. But Oba's slightly better than Omos there. Omos is bigger than Oba. But Oba's big enough, as I call him, the big black fridge. Because that's essentially what he looks like. But him coming out in that white shirt tonight too, great job. I love when people go back to the Dave Bautista style of fashion, as we saw from Body Slam. Great job on that. But I love the idea that he's like, no, I'm not going to just give you a title match because you ask for it. Yep. Smart man. And I don't know if he's going to be a heel. It sounds like he's going to be a heel. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with him being this kind of heel, because he's not scared of anybody. He's just like, look, I'm not going to do stupid shit. But it looks like we know our North American Championship match for the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this was also a nice exchange if you think about it. I love how Dragon Lee comes such a lovable babyface as well, and he even tells him, like I even had written down, he's like, no one has made the impact as quick as you have, and that title represents opportunity, and give others what I gave to you, what Wesley gave. So I like how he comes in here and just tells him, it's like, yeah, you did win. And look at how it's been for you, even just 1 week from winning that championship. Like, even the crowd kind of had their chance for him as he was talking, and he was like smiling, and you could hear like smiling and laughing as he hears the crowd chanting for him while he's doing the promo, that he like has to stop a couple moments to like get into it. And it's just nice to see that reaction from the crowd already, how they're reacting to him so quickly. And it just reminds me like how it's been with Trick so far. Like, they grow on the people, so it's like you gotta get them when they're growing on the people and catapult it from there and cash in on that. And he really did that.
We have Barry Monkey saying, I hope they don't drop the ball with Oba. He's got the ability to go to the top, but we all know the wrong gimmick can derail anything. I agree, but I think it's the right type of like Nigerian prince type gimmick, because I think it's going to be a little bit like Ring of Honor, the 6-man champions. Bishop Khan, isn't it? Isn't he some kind of like African royalty character kind of thing? But he doesn't play up to it. It's just something that he says in his commentary and things he says in a promo. I think it's going to be a similar thing to Oba. I don't think we're going to get like the Apollo Crews Nigerian gimmick. I don't think we're getting that from Oba. So I think we're going to be okay here. But I like the idea that he's this powerful, smart heel who's just not going to be suckered into all these stupid things that these baby faces have been doing for the last 8 months or year and a half if we go all the way back to the beginning of Wesley's first reign with the North American Championship.
Yeah.
But this was a great promo. Also, he is the first NIL talent to hold gold in WWE, so good for him on that. We get Eddie Thorpe backstage with Hank and Tank. An unknown guy, 6590345. Any idea who the hell that guy was?
No, it just reminds me of Monsters Inc. when they had the numbers of the people.
Well, I'm going back to the old days of
Yeah.
when NXT 2.0 started on our old home with NXT, and everybody who we saw that we didn't know was I
had
would
a
just,
number.
I would just add a random number into my notes. Trey comes in and says, "Thank you, Eddie, for representing our culture. I was supposed to, and I now see in my notes, go back to this mark and find out exactly what tribes they're from, but I didn't. But they both talk about which tribes they represent, and they're 2 different tribes, and they talk about how important it is to have represent their cultures. I'm like, oh, okay, good. This is nice. They're getting along. They're 2 different types of Native American gimmick, which I think is going to be interesting. Eddie Thorpe is channeling the Native American energy and things like that with the warrior spirit, and Trey Bearhill is more, Tatanka, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just reminds me of the early 90s and Tatanka and Chief J Strongbow. He's got the feathered hat. He's got the face paint, things like that. The things that Eddie Thorpe doesn't do. But of course, Eddie Thorpe is on screen, so 2 things are happening. 1, Mel's a very happy girl. And 2, Dijak has to come in and ruin everything.
Yeah.
Dijak comes in and says, "Look, you made a friend. Good for you." And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a tag team match. I thought it was going to be Eddie and Trey versus Lexis and Dijak, which looks like what we're going to get next week.
Yeah.
Because after the match, we'll talk about when the match happens, exactly what happens. But Dijak makes a match with Trey Bearhill right here. What do you think of this segment? Anything interesting happening here for you?
Yeah, I really like that because it's one of those things, like, for example, what happens with us Latinos. Everybody thinks we're all from Mexico and that's it, as if it's the only place. So it's nice to see, like, no, we all have different cultures. We all come from different places. So it's nice to see them going, we have the same background, but we're different tribes, and we're gonna be different even with our gimmicks and our characters, and showing you guys that we come from a similar background, but we're still different at the same time. And it's nice to see that, like, they recognize that with each other too, because it's nice to be like, yeah, we have our cultures that celebrate them, even how different we are. And I really enjoyed this part of it. I really would like to see more of, like, how different they're going to be moving forward as well. But yeah, I just, like, I once I saw Dijak, I went, ooh, that's interesting. I kind of figured it would be a good way for Trey to learn more of the ropes, having somebody like Dijak who's so experienced. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm excited for this because that's him learning on TV with us. So it's nice to see that too.
Yeah. I'm going to skip the entrances for the next match. We're going to talk about Trick Mello first, and then we'll go back to the entrances because there's something really fun with the entrances that I want to bring up. But I want you to go ahead and talk about the Trick Mello segment here and the person who drops a bombshell on poor Carmelo Hayes.
I thought this was fun because this is that moment after the match, and it's like they're celebrating the victory. It's like, this is our plan. Carmelo's like, yeah, we're gonna go to the finals. We're gonna be at Vengeance Day. We're gonna win. We have it all laid out or planned out for us. And then here comes Ilya Dragunov and says, "I'm sorry, Trick. I wasn't cleared. They didn't clear me for New Year's Eve, but I'm cleared now, so I can give you the title match that I owe you, basically. But at Vengeance Day." And Trick is like, "Yeah, I'll take it. Like, this is what I wanted." So he's good. And then Carmelo goes, "We just planned that we're gonna win the Dusty Classic and be a part of Vengeance Day as it is. So did you just double book yourself, my dude?" Yeah, that's a little awkward. Just a little.
We're also going to skip and include the next segment where Trick comes back in and apologizes to Melo. He's like, look, dude, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't think about us. But you know what? I'm going to focus. We're going to go ahead and we're going to win the Dusty Classic. And then as soon as I win the Dusty Classic, I'm going to go to the main event and I'm going to win the title. And Melo's like, no, this is what I was trying to get you to not do, Trick. Melo's like, no, I need you to focus on the tag team titles. I need you to focus on my glory. Not your glory, my glory.
Yeah, and focus on Carmelo being Triple Crown, which is what he kept mentioning during this whole part as well.
Which I think is interesting because then Trick comes back and he's like, yeah, I want to be 2-belt Trick. I also want to be Triple Crown Trick. Because people forget, for 3 days, this man was North American champion. Which if he wins both matches on Vengeance Day, he will also be Triple Crown Trick.
Yep.
Melo will be there slightly before him because Melo will become Triple Crown Melo after the tag match, and Trick will obviously have to wait till the main event. Melo was not happy. I also at this time want to bring up tweets from a friend of ours, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them up on my Twitter. Because you all know that for Vengeance Day last year, about a year ago, we had a wonderful man on by the name of Victor Tyler Perry, the man who runs the wrestling club. And he said, every week, I'm going to remind you all that Melo is innocent.
Sure.
He also later tweeted, the story with Melo and Trick just keeps leveling up. Now Trick gets his title match against Dragunov at Vengeance Day. Brilliant. Something tells me it's Dragunov, though. He attacked Trick. No, Victor. HBK is giving his best segments to the people he loves and adores. Roxanne Perez got the pass out segment. Remember when she had the anxiety attack after wrestling Miko when she passes out? That's the exact same thing. It was the same type of segment that they did on Raw years and years ago when he got the Owen Hart kicked him in the back of the head, and Michaels did the pass out gimmick on Raw, and Raw went off the air with commentary and Shawn being taken to the hospital. That story has a really funny ending where they had to take Shawn to the hospital and fake the concussion to the actual doctors because they had to take him to a real hospital. And now he's getting the AAA Shawn Michaels attack that led to the match, the return match at SummerSlam. That's all coming back right here with Trick and Melo, which means Melo is the one who attacked Trick because it has to be the best friend.
Yep.
Hello, Papa Smokes. The Swifty Papa Smokes. We made the Swifty comment, which you can catch on our YouTube channel very shortly. It'll be within the next day or so. That short will be going live. But yes, he knows who Taylor Swift is, people. So, but make sure you catch the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes, every Thursday night, and this Thursday night especially. If you're in the chat, make sure you come stop around. Because they're going to be having the What the Fuck Do We Know About Wrestling Pub Trivia Night, where you can become either the Twitch or the YouTube champion if you can answer more correct trivia questions than anybody else in the chat during that night. So make sure you go ahead and stop by. Speaking of Triple Crown champions, we have John Cena saying, I think Johnny and Adam are the other two Triple Crown winners. They are the only other two Triple Crown winners at this point. I think it's almost a guarantee that Melo will be a Triple Crown champion. I hope. I don't
know how I feel about that one yet.
Oh, anything's better than the family at this point. Now, we get to one of my favorite things of the night. Lyra Valkyria makes her entrance right before this commercial break that led to us coming back to Trick Melo. And then, out of nowhere, Tatum Paxley slides up to the leg of Lyra Valkyria. But she's not dressed in her normal ring gear. She's dressed in one of Lyra Valkyria's alternative gears. which is just fantastic. I mean, chef's. The best part is she has her hair done just like Lyra.
Mm-hmm.
She looks so much like. If Lyra wasn't wearing the championship, I honestly don't know if I could have said who was who.
Yeah,
It
that's very
was fantastic.
And to add to that too, I had seen this tweet from Lyra. She tweeted us before the show tonight. She said, "If a set of my gear appears online for sale, please don't purchase. Instead, please let me know as it is missing / stolen set." I kept thinking that's what happened to Soraya recently, so I was like, "Oh shoot, like not another one." And then after the show or after the match, she retweets it and then puts on top, "Never mind, because Tatum is the one." And I was like, what I'm loving about this part is how creative it's been for Tatum. Not only from her like appearing like anywhere at this point when she does behind Lyra in the way she does because they don't put her in the frame until after Lyra leaves. But to have this like kind of Mickey Trish storyline, but it's in a different way as well. And like the way she goes into her character. She's dressed up exactly like Lyra. After Lyra does her entrance, she does the entrance with the hands as well. The same pose and everything, like exactly to it. And it's like it shows how she like if you look at it this way, she has to be like thinking, let me like study her the way she does it exactly, the way she does everything to do her entrance exactly the same after she's done with hers. Love it so much. How she's into this. This is one of my favorite parts tonight.
We then have Lyra 1 and Lyra 2 taking on the Latina Express of Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. I honestly didn't know what funny name to give them. For those that don't know, I always have random funny names in my notes of whatever's going on. Sometimes it's bad because I then have to remember what the actual team is. And there's one team in particular that I always put the same name in my notes and have to make sure I don't say it on the air. What did you think of this match?
I think it was a fun match. I think this is the first time though that I've seen Lola's performance and I actually like it. I can say that. I feel like her today with her strikes and the way she was so hard hitting is exactly what I've been wanting to see from her since she started. And I feel like this is the first time like her, her chemistry with Elektra as, tagging tonight. I feel like this is the first time I actually see the chemistry like really well done. And not only that, but the like almost like matching gears in a way because they had a similar pattern to them as well. I feel like they both felt like complete teams if you think about it that way because of the gear part as well, and like the visual of it before the match started. But thinking about like today, they felt like a team. Today, this is the Lola I've been wanting to see from the get go that I didn't get to see, and it was so well done. I did like not only the ending, but I want to know one of my favorite parts. Lola actually kicks Tatum when she's hanging from the middle rope, and the way it looked very nasty. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted Lola to be. Where have you been? So that part I kept thinking about, and I love the finish. So I feel like it was very creative because we have the ladies tagged in. So Tatum is the legal person for her team, and then Elektra for her team. And then Tatum takes a kick from Lola, and she actually falls on top of Elektra, ends up pinning her while Lyra's taking care of Lola behind. And then the bell rings, and then Lyra's like, "What happened?" That's when she notices that Tatum is actually on top of Elektra, who just started sliding out of the ring, and notices that that's the reason why they actually won. But it was also because she was protecting Lyra from the kick. So I think like the storytelling of like the how the ending happened and protecting Lyra the way she was, I really love the ending. It was very creative for me.
I love the taking the kick to save Lyra moment because Lola was trying to kick Lyra. And the funny thing is that Tatum had just tried to pin Elektra with the splash, but it was actually a better splash than any of Lyra's splash, which I think is hysterical. That Tatum's one Lyra splash was better than any of Lyra's the many that she had to do on television. But no, I thought this was great. I love the innovative finish. It makes a bunch of sense. And again, it's now step 2 or step 3 if you count last week. Step 3 in the disintegration of Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. To go back over it, last week in the promo, Lyra says, when are you going to tell your friend that you're not going to use the title shot on the tag team titles? Then we had Elektra Lopez saying she wants to win the Battle Royal. so that it could be a triple threat match. And Lola's like, that's not how this works. And then we have Elektra losing the match because Lola kicked Tatum in the head and Tatum pinned Elektra. We then see a bunch of the women. We see a bunch of the women getting ready in the NXT locker room. Stevie Turner cuts a quick promo. Hey, Mel Ball's here. Mel, unfortunately, you already missed the Eddie Thorpe discussion. I do apologize. But if you go back about 10 minutes, you'll be able to hear about Eddie Thorpe and him backstage with friends. He had friends this week. I mean, it was only Hank Tank, but, you get what you can. Stevie Turner cuts a quick promo talking about how she's going to win the match. And I'm like, sure you will, Stevie Turner. Bye. Just get out of my screen. I still love Stevie Turner. I think she's great, but I miss Hacker Stevie. I miss Streamer Stevie.
Yeah.
Although she did tweet after the match, and she's still the only unpinned woman on the NXT roster right now. Mel's upset that she missed the Eddie discussion. It's okay. He didn't have a match, so you didn't get to see him in all his glory. But then Ariana Grace starts cutting the longest promo in wrestling history. It really isn't, but it's an extended promo talking about how she's going to win the Battle Royal. Honestly, I took no-nos because it's just so fantastic that she just keeps yammering away and everybody just slowly melts away behind her, doesn't say a word. Lash is the last one left there, taking forever to get ready. And then she just melts away. And as soon as she melts away, Ariana finishes and goes, "Right, sisters?" And she looks around and there's nobody.
My favorite, yes, my favorite part is too that how did you not break character like in a camera while she's doing that? Because if it was me, I wouldn't be smiling or laughing a little bit because she's so in the zone while she's doing it, like so in character, and you see other girls like getting ready and they're like, "I'm ready, I'm leaving, I'm ready, I'm leaving," and little by little you start getting rid of them, and she's like, "Yes, because imagination is the best thing for all of you," and like she's so into it, and I love how concentrated she is. Obviously, she doesn't realize that they're gone, but it's just so wonderful to see him. Like, if it was me, I wouldn't have been able to be on camera. I would have been like my back turned and I'm leaving because if you see my face, it would just break everything. But it's nice to see you like, yes, it is gonna happen this way, and they're like, my imagination, and you guys are all gonna lose, right? Right? And then there's nobody.
Just oh my god, she
Jeff's
is
kiss.
one of the best characters in NXT. Yeah. Like she is 1,000% devoted to this character. Win, lose, or draw, the only thing I can say is at least she's trying. If this character doesn't work, fine. But you cannot blame her for the failure of this character. Because she's done and by the way, NXT's done a very good job of knowing what this character is and giving her opportunities to live in it. They've made sure that when she gets promo time, that she gets just enough time to be god-awfully annoying to the point where we all hate her.
Yeah.
Like, we love it because we think it's great and it's good character work. But as a general fan watching, you just want to make her shut up. So she's doing the perfect heel thing, and I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We have Barry talking to Mel and says, just so you know, the first 15 minutes of the show was about Dominic Mysterio. Poor Astrid couldn't stop Ed from going on and on about him. I may retroactively change my Wrestler of the Year just so it shuts Barry out.
Yes.
We then get Ridge Holland versus Joe Coffey. So I hated this. I thought it was a waste of time. Joe Coffey got jobbed out to Ridge Holland.
Surprisingly.
My notes put with ease. Like, Ridge takes out Coffey with ease. I agree.
Oh my God, he speaks.
I agree, Mike. It is Gallus. These should be treated with respect. Mark Talks Wrestling was going to be so upset that Gallus was treated so poorly in the segment. But, apparently they're hell-bent on pushing Ridge. So, here's the thing. Because there's nothing to talk about with the match. The match was fine. It didn't take long.
It was a match. And it happened, and the bell rang, and it was over.
Yeah. Here's what I want to talk about with this. Ilya Dragunov was first seen with Ridge Holland. You know, when Ridge came in, he came in and interrupted with Ilya. Trick and Mello kind of have to resolve their thing at some point, right? Is NXT going to go with Ridge versus Ilya for the championship at Stand and Deliver, which means we get Trick versus Mello at Stand and Deliver as in just a grudge match? Like at Vengeance Day, Trick gets screwed by Mello, and Mello comes out and says, yeah, it was me. I attacked you because I want the glory, not you. I brought you into this world, and I'm going to let you know when it's your time. Because that's all I can think about. It's like, why push Ridge so hard if he's not going to be in something at Stand and Deliver? And if he's going to be in something, you ideally think it's going to be the match against Ilya, right?
I don't want it though.
Like it makes sense, but
no, yeah, I know. But
in my mind, the best outcome for the Trick Mello thing is to put it. And again, this isn't a valid opinion. This is an opinion of a man who loves both Trick and Mello. But I think Trick Mello should finish their feud at Stand and Deliver for the championship. I think it should be a one-on-one match between Trick and Mello where Trick walks in as champion and has to put Mello down for taking him out. That, I think, makes the most sense because you get the most bang for your buck for that match on Mania weekend. That's the biggest NXT match that you can build that weekend. And I just don't think Ridge, because that should be your last match of Stand and Deliver. That should be your headline. Whether it has a title or it doesn't, the obvious booking of Mello versus Trick has to happen. And at that point, then it's, do you do it for the title or do you not? But it should be main evented. And I hate not main eventing without a championship. It doesn't have to be the men's title, but honestly, there's no women's story that can main event this show. So if you're going to main event with a championship story, it has to either be a triple threat or a fatal four-way, or it has to be Trick versus Mello with the title. Mike says, remember at Mania, how many matches can we see 3 miles away? They're starting to do that for NXT. I'm fine with them building obvious matches, weeks and months out of Mania to do it. I'm just saying, I feel like Ridge versus Ilya is a bit of a letdown as a main event. Rock Hogan should have main evented and Taker Shawn. I agree. But these are all, these are all stupid decisions that Vince made, where Vince didn't do the smart thing. We're talking about Shawn Michaels and Triple H. They're a little bit, they tend to be a little bit smarter with the card than Vince. And remember, NXT Stand and Deliver is only going to be 6, maybe 7 matches long. I think we're getting Oba Femi versus Lexis King at Stand and Deliver. Right now, that's the match I would book for the North American Championship.
Yeah.
That's the match I would book. I think it makes the most sense based on how he became the champion. You're going to have a women's match. It would have been Cora. It's not going to be Cora anymore, obviously. But I had already penciled Lyra versus Cora as the main event, as the women's main event for that show. So it's like, you've got to do something. The smart thing could be the
to me, that has to be the main event. Yeah. It has to be it, though. It's just like, I think it's the storyline, even when you think about it, including the championship on top of it, and to add another layer to it, it's the storyline that has the most built up right now. It has the most meaning behind everything right now. Plus, being Trick, how hot he is right now. We didn't like how he lost the North American Championship that quickly. So this has to be that crowning moment for him that we're all going to enjoy, and he gets at least a decent run better than what he did for the North American. And it's like, how do you have to finish Trick Mello somehow. I think the main event with the championship is the way to go.
We've got about nine weeks, it looks like, until that show. We got plenty of time. And like I said, we've still got Vengeance Day to kind of figure out what's going on and build it. I just feel like you throw everything on that fire. Like he says, the title's lost its luster due to this angle. Let it simmer and ride the hot story. I think me and Mike are saying the exact same thing, but for different reasons. Mike's saying let the title matches be further down the card and let Trick and Mello main event as its own story. And I'm saying the exact same thing. The Trick and Mello need to main event and let Ilian and Ridge be further down the card on its own story. But I think like the title should be on the, I say you throw everything in this one.
Yeah. Definitely with the championship.
Like there's ways to go, there's time to build, but it feels like that's where we're headed. Mm-hmm. It feels like it would feel weird if it's not Stand and Deliver where we get that match. Like that match has to happen to Stand and Deliver. If it doesn't, it just seems like a waste.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of things that aren't a waste, we want to go ahead and have Astrid's going to talk to you in just a moment about where you can get some great merch after we play this quick video. Where, of course, you can see the wonderful Mike the Ref modeling his shirt from Astrid Pizarro, as well as Melball Collins in there as well. But Astrid, go ahead and tell the good people where they can get your merch.
I mean, option one is you see the QR code that's already there on the graphic as it is. If not, if you go to foryouwear.com and under personalities, you'll definitely see we have the shirt and we have the hoodie option. So as you can see, Mel has the black one and Mike has the gray one. I got my black one ready for TNA this weekend and from the Rumble next weekend.
Yeah. I just, we were talking about good things and everything else, and I was like, look at those bottles. Mike the Ref clears it up and says, oh, you should have Trick win the title at Vengeance Day with Mello's help. Then he attacks him after the match. Okay. All right. So me and Mike are on the entire same page, which honestly brings us to an interesting point because we can finally say that Talking Takeover will be happening later this month. Episode 1 of Talking Takeover will finally air. We've been talking about it for a while. The graphics are all set. Everything's ready. Talking Takeover NXT Arrival will be coming to you later on this month. We're not sure if it's going to be a live show. We're not sure if it's going to be recorded. But by the end of January, probably just before the Rumble, we're going to go ahead and talk NXT TakeOver. Oh, come on. You already knew all this.
Sure.
We then have Karmen apparently made some new things for Chase University that she shows off to JC Jane. And JC apparently likes them. And she sends all the Chase U girls. Hold on. I hope you recorded it. It would suck if you didn't. Yes. So she sends all the other girls away, but Jade Gentile gets her first spot on NXT here under her newly christened name of Jasmine. I know it's Jasmine, and I can't remember the name I sent to Astrid earlier today about it. They just trademarked the brand new name today, which is why I knew she was going to be on the show today. But yeah, and then JC then wants to get Jasmine's number. Mm-hmm. This whole storyline is taking a very big left turn that I'm not quite sure what's going on anymore.
Jade Gentile.
Yes, but what's the name? They gave her Jasmine what?
Yeah, Nix, the way I read it.
Jasmine Nix. Okay, that is the one. Okay. I wasn't sure the last name. I didn't want to say it unless I knew. I knew it was Jade Gentile was the person who's been renamed Jasmine. But what did you think of this whole Chase U NXT Anonymous segment?
Oh gosh, it just made me laugh because at the same time, for those of you that don't know it, but Shay covers NXT in Body Slam. She was covering in Women's Wrestling Talk too, and at this moment, she actually tweeted, "I'm guessing like the girls did some kind of like OnlyFans thing," and I went, "Oh my god, we're not the only ones." And she's like, and it was funny to see we're not the only ones thinking about it. But at the same time, I was like, would Shawn and Triple H do something like this? That's the part that it just like, it makes me doubt it.
Would they fire Mandy Rose for having an OnlyFans and then do an OnlyFans angle? Yes, they would. Because remember, they're not the ones who got rid of Mandy. Sean wanted to keep her. Triple H wasn't in charge at that point. That was still done while Vince was in charge of the company. Which seems weird because you figure Vince, the dirty old man that he was, wouldn't give a shit if his talent was doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, I do think it's a bit weird that they fought. Like I said last week, I thought it. What are you at? What for Mandy Rose OnlyFans? Just search Mandy Rose on OnlyFans. You'll find it very easily. Lots of deals all the time. Don't worry about it. But anyways, no. Do I think Sean would poke the bear absolutely and do something silly like this? You mean Sean, the one who, while world champion the first time, posed for Playgirl? You mean the guys who started Degeneration X and taught a generation of children of my age to suck it? Yeah. Do I think they would pimp out the women's Chase U locker room students? Yes. I wholeheartedly and 1,000% think that they would absolutely do that. Do I think it's a bad idea? Yes. Do I think that they shouldn't do it? Yes. I don't think this is the route to go. However, JC Jane, again, it goes back to last week. JC Jane said that she has a strategy for these girls to take back all the money that Andre Chase lost. There's only so many ways that you can make that much money.
Not only that, I was thinking of like, it'll be funny the way she's like making it seem like it's that, and it's some kind of like calendar or something like that they're selling with other girls posting for it or something. Like, it sounds so silly and simple, but we're all thinking this way until we hear otherwise. But it's nice to know we're not the only ones who went the same route, though.
I mean, they haven't done it yet, but that is the question I posed last week: is are they going to do this? I mean, I didn't use that word. I did say pimping them out. I did say pimping them out, but it's the same thing. Johnny Swinger at NXT opening Dungeon 2.0. Only explanation. Oh, it's a different type of dungeon. Don't you worry. I don't want to be the dirty old man who just instantly thinks sex when it comes to this. But, like, there are only so many ways that women can make that much money. Because Andre Chase told us it's an absurd amount of money that he owes. Like, if it were just a small amount of money, I wouldn't leap to this conclusion. But again, every time JC talks about this, it's only the female student body that she has with her. Which, again, leads me back to the same conclusion. Like, I know it's not going to be what I think it's going to be. I know it's not what Shay thinks it's going to be either. But at the same time, at least I'm not the dirty old man, the only guy thinking it and being like, oh, I'm a guy, so it has to be this. At least there are women like you, like Shay, who are like, no, this like train of thought makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But God, it's going to be a bad look if they do that. If this is an OnlyFans account, and even if it's just modeling, if this is a real thing that they try to do, it is going to look so bad.
Or they're scamming somebody out of money. Can you imagine? That could be another thing, maybe.
Well, it's essentially the same thing. I mean, trust me.
No, but I mean, like, pretending to be somebody else to, like, get the money out of them. Something like that. But it's still, like, if you notice, JC's always on her phone scrolling as if it's something, like, she has to be looking up all the time. And, you know, that it's always with her phone, so.
Yeah. Mike says, watch it be some kind of church support group. Barry says, it's a bit late for in calendar. Would have been nice at Christmas. I mean, it's still early. It's midway through January. You can do a calendar starts in January. No. We'll just put Thea on January so we don't have to see her again. It's fine. We then get Kelani Jordan talking about winning the Battle Royal. She has her promo. And I noted this to Ashley because I just think it's funny. When we've seen Carmelo Hayes every time tonight, other than in his match, he was using the stretchy band. After his match, he was using the stretchy band. You know, in both segments with Melo, he's using the stretchy band. Thank you, Mike. I greatly appreciate it. Always nice to have a friend who can support me. But I just thought it was funny that his girlfriend is also using the stretchy band when she's on TV. Like, it's stupid, but it's kind of fun to see the couple just doing their own little couple thing. And then I think this is Brinley, the girl we saw last week with the Simon system.
Yeah.
In here again, trying to be motivational speaker kind of thing. I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about this week.
I remember the part that she said something about like the difference between something and breakthrough is the oomph or triumph. It was a triumph thing. Kelani said it was she was breaking out and breaking through this year, and she said the only I forgot what the first word was. I don't know if it's the difference between something and triumph is the oomph, and I'm like, she's a motivational speaker now, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it's trying. Maybe it's trying and triumph.
Yeah, probably. And I just thought it was funny because you only think it's Kelani with the way she's talking and the way they have the camera angle. All of a sudden, you hear the voice and it's like, whoop, she's over here on the wall training before the like warming up before the match happens. It's like
she was doing a handstand.
Her.
She was doing a hand. It was an impressive hand. It was a impressive wall stand. Like, I'll be honest, I can't do it.
Yeah.
If they upgrade the Simon system to a shake weight, I'm done. Yeah. No. So last week she went up and she was talking to Anofe and Blade. And she was trying to tell them they needed to get into shape to get abs. And they pulled up their shirt to show that they already have a washboard stomach with 6 or 8 abs already on there. And she was like, oh, okay. And that's where I kept going with the Riddick Moss thing, where the Riddick regimen and then the Simon Dean with the Simon system and things like that. Because it's always been a gimmick in wrestling that you have this person trying to sell this motivational speaker, buy my shit product that doesn't exist kind of thing. Barry, going back to the women in Chase U, talks about maybe they're going to run for president. No President Crazy Pants. No. If they don't have 10, what are they doing with their lives? Oh yes, professional wrestlers. And then we get segment of the night. I don't care about the main event. I don't care how good it was.
Hey, don't say that.
I do. The main event was great. What I'm saying is the 30-minute main event does not even pale in comparison to this wonderful segment.
It was wonderful.
Baron Corbin doing an interview, and Braun comes walking in. He's like, hey, he told me the interview was at 9:30, not at 9. And he's coming in wearing it's his version of his dad, Rick Steiner's black leather jacket with like the spikes on it and stuff. It was great. And he starts talking about the tag team name, the Wolf Dogs. Chef's kiss on being such a terrible, terrible name. And he's like, well, you know what? I came up with it in the shower. And Baron's like, you were thinking about me in the shower? He's like, no, I was thinking about the tag team. Think about us. He's like, that's even worse. And poor Kelly Kincaid cannot fucking hide behind. And trust me, she tried her best to hide herself behind Baron Corbin. But he made sure there was no room for her to go. Did you see him slide? Baron Corbin slid one step to the right, closer to Kelly Kincaid, to make sure she stayed in shot. Because she tried to hide her face behind his shoulder, and he wouldn't let her because he wanted her on camera for this because she was priceless. Because he knew he couldn't keep it straight. So he knew he needed to have her there so that he could hold it just a little bit more. Because as long as somebody's reacting to this craziness that was Braun Breaker here. They go back and forth. Baron tells him that he's supposed to be the creative one so he can go ahead. And Braun's like, but I've been thinking about this for like 4 weeks. And Corbin's like, we just started teaming together 2 weeks ago. How have you been thinking about it for 4 weeks?
I cannot.
Mike says he couldn't keep it straight. Barry says, oh, this was good. I agree. My friend Rob says anything including Corbin is the best. I agree. But like I said, there's nothing that happened in this segment that's worth anything. Nothing. It is pure comedy. And to me, it was comedy gold. Because it's not like Baron Corbin's making fun of him thinking about the two of them in the shower. He's just angry that his tag team partner was thinking about them in the shower, which I think is great. because it's a thin line between what you can make fun of and what you can't make fun of. Because if you go too far down this line, you cross some certain lines. But this was perfectly divided on that line, and I thought it was brilliant. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, me neither. Plus the part with the name. So when he said wolf dog, so he's like, no, can you come up with something better? He's like, I just thought about it. Wild boars. He's like, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Mike the Ref, seriously though, allowing Baron Corbin to have a personality there has been such a breath of fresh air. I agree. Like, this brings me back to Sad Corbin. Like, the personality that he had is Sad Corbin. It's been fantastic. It's so fun to see Baron Corbin enjoying wrestling again. Because he's having a ball. You can see it in all the promos and everything he's doing in NXT. He's gotten the golden ticket to just do what he wants to do. He got to remake his own entrance music. He got to recreate his entire character in choices that he wanted to make. The ring gear is entirely his. They've given him the golden ticket to be like, look, what do you want Baron Corbin to be? And this is what he's chosen. And you know what? It's been great. He's having good matches. He's getting talent over. He's losing almost everything. And he still feels like the biggest fucking deal in the world. Baron Corbin in NXT has been an absolute success. And the best part is he's having fun doing it.
Yeah.
The Mike Ruff's coming back in and saying you can see him doing all these skit with his NFL teams at some point. Oh, absolutely. You can totally see this is the kind of thing that he was doing when he was trying to make NFL teams. We then get a wild match between the LWO and Chase U, who both have people on the outside, as Andre Choice joins Chase U, and Zelina Vega makes a rare appearance on NXT. Her first time back, I believe, since Andrade and Andrade went up to the main roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about this wild match between the LWO and Chase U?
This was just like the opener for me. The fact that I just like enjoyed it and didn't take any notes whatsoever. And let me just tell you, Walking Wild is totally wild. Holy crap, that dude. I'm glad that this is finally, I think, like a time that we actually see him the way he is. And it's such a different way from what we've seen him before. I end up loving every single part of it. It was just amazing to watch. And let me say, Chase, you had no chance after that. After how wild they went and had the super high flying stuff. It's just nice to see them happening this way. I wish we could see more stuff like this in the main roster, because if you notice, so far the great matches that we've seen from them as LWO has been in NXT from this little bit that they've been here compared to the main roster. So it's like I want to see more stuff like that in the main roster, like not every single week, but to see it more often though. And it was something that I was glued to. I didn't want to take any notes. I was just like, tell me more. But yeah, I loved it from beginning to end. And I'm glad they advanced. Yes.
Walking Wild is bringing back the DJZ vibes from his time in Impact. For those that didn't watch Impact way back in the day, like me and Astrid used to do, that's where I first saw Walking Wild's character. He played DJ. He played Zima Ion first, and then he became DJZ when he was the DJ for the Bromans, which was Jesse Goddard, who is the reigning defending champion in OVW. And then Robert Stone, who was at the time playing Robbie E, who was a takeoff of the Robbie. Was he the Situation, or was it one of the other guys on the Jersey Shore that he was mimicking? I can't remember.
I thought it was like Paulie, kind of.
Oh, is it Paulie D? And that's why they named him Robbie E? I don't know. I didn't watch Jersey Shore. I have no idea. I know there was a thing called the Snooki on there. Yes, they do need the DJZ helmets. I wholeheartedly agree. Yes, Jesse Goddard was his name in Impact. It's Mr. Spectacular. It's still Jesse Goddard, but he goes by Mr. Spectacular now in OVW. He's one of the stars of the wrestlers, and he's one of the reasons why the OVW is getting the love that it's getting right now, because he's absolutely fantastic. Big Brother extraordinaire, Jesse Goddard. He's done everything. He's fantastic. I love him to death. He followed me on Twitter for some godforsaken reason. I don't know why, but thank you, Jesse.
Because I posted the clip and I got you the follow. You're welcome.
Yes, but I don't understand why he would follow.
He just does it. Don't worry about it. You just take it. Don't ask questions. Don't worry about it.
This was a great match. I absolutely adored this match. This was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I felt bad that Chase U kind of got jobbed out in this, but at the same time, it gave us a spotlight for Riley. Riley was in a bunch of this match until the very end. Were they pinned?
Mm-hmm.
Were they pinned? What's his name? Duke. They pinned Duke in this match, which I thought was interesting. I thought they'd pin Riley. So to let them pin Duke.
And I don't think you could hear Andre saying Jay-Z's our only hope. He is the last thing he
said.
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. What was he? Was he going to do what I talked about doing, which was sell the tag team title match? Like that would have been fantastic. But again, the Chase U men are getting jobbed to let the women look more superior. That's fine. Like I don't mind the idea. I felt bad for Riley because he got jobbed out to Oba Femi in the breakout finals. And then here, I thought it was an opportunity for him to at least go up against Mello. I thought the two of them versus Mello, I think it made a lot more sense. Big guy, small guy, big guy, small guy. Like Carmelo and Riley are about the same height, have the same athletic ability. And then Trick and Duke are roughly the same size, both real big men that could really do a lot of things. I thought it was really interesting and really would have been fun. Before we get back to the rest of the review, we got STG 212. And I apologize for my lack of knowledge. Don't worry about it. You can ask us any kind of questions. We'll go ahead and answer them. Is there a certain time frame that wrestlers get called up to the main roster, or could some wrestlers stay 3 to 5 years? It depends. There's absolutely no time frame. There is zero time frame. My famous story is Aaliyah. Aaliyah, who was on the main roster for all of a year and a half?
Probably.
Aaliyah was in NXT for damn near 8 years because she was there. She was there when they did Breaking Ground, which was the first show that WWE did on the WWE Network, and it was chronicling the NXT stars. And she was on that, and that happened before WrestleMania 30. And we're now going into WrestleMania 40. And Aaliyah was there for almost the entire time. There are some people who never leave NXT. I'm trying to think of who's the veteran now in NXT who hasn't left. They've turned over the roster so much, I can't think of anybody right now.
Plus, if you think about it, there's people like Zion Quinn who's been there for a while, and he's still like a free agent on the website, and they still haven't used him at all. So it's like you don't even know what they're doing with him at this point. But I would say before it used to be like, I don't want to say 3 to 5 years, but it almost feels kind of that way at first, because I always call it like they kind of went by seasons. We had like this group, and then this group moved on, and they kind of started building up at the same time. This group that would kind of take over that group, and it felt kind of that way. So I always call them like seasons for me. But it's like there's, like you said, there's no really time frame, because we have people like Roxanne has been there for like a year or two at this point. I think she's going her second year now, but she has previous experience. So it's like you never really know. It depends on where they're coming from and their backgrounds too.
Mike brings up Dijak, but the only thing I say about Dijak is he went to the main roster. Like, he spent a year or so on the main roster. Like, yeah, he's back down there now. He's a senior guy. He's been in the business forever. But like with like Baron Corbin, Corbin spent a year or so in NXT, but then went to the main roster for 9 years. And now he spent 6 months down here, and he's revitalized his career. And just because Duke Hudson's a good one. Duke Hudson might be the guy. He's been there for a while. Yeah. But like I said, it's not a bad thing to be stuck in NXT, because NXT does such a good job of trying to keep people on top. And if you're there for a long time, you end up typically becoming what they call a gatekeeper. You end up becoming one of these guys who goes out there, and you're the one we trust to have matches with everybody. You're the one who's here who, when we think somebody's ready for the next level, they wrestle you. They have that X-Pac role. When people were coming into the company, a lot of times they had dark matches with Sean Waltman, because Sean Waltman could have a good match with anybody. And so they would go out there and they'd have him wrestle Sean. And when Sean would come back, he'd talk to Vince and co, and he'd be like, yeah, this guy has some good stuff. He worked well with me. And if they didn't work well with Waltman, there was no point in bringing him in, because if they can't work with Waltman, they couldn't work at all. I never say Dijak on the main roster. There was some guy named T-Bar. Yes, he was there as T-Bar, but he was there. Might consider JC Jane in that role. Yeah, I think JC Jane is absolutely the gatekeeper on the women's division. Yeah, but like I said, there's nobody who's been there for that for too long.
No, except for Aaliyah. She was the only one that was there for that long as it is.
Yeah, like I said, Aaliyah is always the one that jumps out at me because she was on Breaking Ground as a young talent and then was there forever. They put her in a closet and keep her there and then bring her out every now and then to have her wrestle. But that question brings up a good thing. If you want to pick up some NXT knowledge and you want to learn about the NXT as it's grown, we've got a great brand new show coming for you that we're going to have once or twice a month called Talking Takeover. Me and Ashley are going to be here. We're going to review retro review style all of the NXT takeovers. And we're going to start with the first takeover that wasn't called Takeover. It was the first live wrestling event on the NXT network. It was NXT Arrival. And it is main evented by a ladder match between Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville. For those that don't know, Adrian Neville is now the Bastard Pac. And by the way, finding renders of these people in their old gimmicks was fucking impossible. Which Dana Brooke. No, Barry, you get Ash by Elegance. It's fantastic. Your turn. I had to deal with her for a while. Now you get Ash by Elegance. Yes, new content. Loved Adrian Neville. But you're going to see what Astrid talked about when she's talking about seasons. As we go through the matches on these shows, you'll see the group of talent as they come through. And then you suddenly stop hearing about that talent because they've moved on to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we have a brand new show coming up. We're going to take a minute break here right now just to go ahead and play the calendar video so you guys can see what we have coming up. And when we come back, we're going to get ready to talk about, I believe, the main event. That's all we got left. Pretty much. Yeah. We got a couple things left, but the main event is mostly what we got left. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And then you are my hand again.
Welcome back, and we can also confirm that the Marvel Talk episode will be this Thursday night after the pub trivia. Me and Andre will be live here on Twitch and YouTube, going ahead and talking all about Marvel's Echo. Echo is a deaf character for Marvel. It's also a Native American character, so me and Andre are very excited to go ahead and dive into all of the things that come around with Echo. I'm very excited to actually watch the episodes, as I've been holding off until I knew when we were going to do the show, because a friend of mine wanted to watch them with me. But now that we have a date for the show, we'll be going ahead and taking care of that tomorrow night so that I can be ready for Thursday night show. After the LWO wins and moves on to face Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams next week, we get Rizzo backstage with the family as she's trying to get ready. And they start talking about all these wonderful times that she went ahead and stepped up and knocked people out. And they're like, you just got to do it again. She's like, yeah, but they all deserved it. And I'm like, yes. And in the wrestling ring, everybody deserves it, you dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a bad segment. It made her look so dumb. Did not like.
I like the part from the guys though. Like I like that how they like made sense to it at the end. Just the part of, I understand her like being nervous because it's the first match. But like the part of like how, if you think about it this way, how it took her that long to realize what they actually meant. That's the part I'm like, But, yeah.
Yeah. Mike has actually gone back and looked at the roster. The most tenured, if you include NXT UK, is Noam Dar. All right, that makes sense. I would consider Noam Dar absolutely a gatekeeper right now. Again, NXT UK is kind of, 50-50 because then you throw in people like Joe Gacy as well. But I get it. I'll take that. Noam Dar. Yeah. We then get I said Joe Gacy. I meant Joe Coffey, but I was apparently
I was
reading my
about to
notes.
say.
As we got Joe Gacy dressed as Vincent Kennedy McMahon from the old days. We'll get there, Barry. Don't you worry. Joe Gacy dressed as Vincent Kennedy McMahon from the 90s. If you didn't watch wrestling in the 90s, you don't get this. You don't understand what I'm talking about. But he has like the suit coat on with the WWF logo. It's actually even WWF logo. It's not even WWE logo. It's the WWF logo. It's fantastic. And he's like, I don't even remember what he says here.
No, he was just very smiley, like, like he had to be here. He has to get like, all dressed up because he was on the commentary table this time around.
Yes, but he said something, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. But this leads into us getting Dijak versus Trey to be happening afterwards as Dijak came out to the ring. But first, Barry's favorite segment. We're going to now discuss the acting masterclass of Vaughn, the charismatic enema, Wagner. And by the way, that's a very apt description. It's not a mispronunciation. I was reading it. I'm like, the charismatic enigma. I'm like, no, he's got it right. Enema. So Von Wagner and Robert Stone are backstage, and Robert Stone asks him what his resolutions are for 2024. And he goes, I don't have any of those stupid things. I don't care. And Aura Mensa and Noam Dar come in arguing. It's like this segment took place last week. Like, were they arguing all week?
Well, Von Wagner for an Emmy, please.
No, thank you. But Von Wagner then says, hey, I want a shot at this. And he points, he takes his cup, his athletic supporter, and throws it in the Heritage Cup. And Noam and Aura throw it out of there as quickly as they can to get it out of the precious cup. And then he says, I want a shot at that. And he's like, no, you don't understand how this works. You can't have a shot. And Noam tries to confuse him by explaining the rules to the match, but in the dumbest fucking way possible. Like, he explains it like half of a rule at a time.
It's like, it's 3 rounds. I know it's something about like, you have to beat me 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to do all kinds of math, and it got Von Wagner doing all kinds of math. And at one point, Von Wagner says, so I need to beat you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's like, oh, you have to beat me. Is it 6
Twice.
times? Yeah, he's like, oh, 6 times 3, 18. So, I see, you get it. They really got me with that one.
Yeah, Noam apparently eventually gets sick of all of this, which I was sick of it way before he was. And I think he agreed to Von Wagner getting a Heritage Cup match. I think that's what happened. I don't know. I wanted to fall asleep and I wanted to turn it off, but I didn't because I knew Barry would be here and want to talk about it. So we'll give Barry a moment to talk about this as we go ahead and talk about the next segment, which is Dijak defeat. Nope, we got Mike the Ref first. Watch Von Wagner pull a Maria Kanellis 20 from 2010 and just become the smartest character on the roster for out of nowhere. Maria Kanellis' character in the 2010s was fantastic because they treated her like she was some kind of idiot savant, and I loved it. Just because she's such a brilliant and smart woman. And also, funny story for those that don't know, I've met Maria Kanellis, and she almost killed me. I'm allergic to strong scents, and I met her at a meet and greet with the Kingdom at a live indie show, and it was a summer day, so Maria put on about a pound and a half of perfume. And in doing so, I'd forgotten to take my allergy meds. So I went up to Maria, and I was talking to her and Matt and Mike, and we're just chit-chatting. I was just standing there, but I stood there too long, and they didn't care. They were just chit-chatting with us because it was the end of the meet and greet. Like, I didn't take a photo. I didn't do anything else. They were just there talking. Jimmy Stewart was there as well. He's a local guy that goes to all the wrestling shows. All of a sudden, I can't breathe, and I'm hyperventilating. Thankfully, my buddy had his EpiPen because he's allergic to bees, and he gave me the EpiPen so that I could breathe again. But yes, that is the famous story of the night that Maria Kanellis almost killed me.
Does she know? I'll be curious about that.
No, I don't think she has any idea. Like, I know it happened. She was there. She might remember that I had a hard time breathing, but I'm sure that's not the first and not the last time that she's given a guy having a hard time breathing. Yes, Maria Kanellis absolutely took my way, literally and figuratively. Both of them. Maria Kanellis is a stunning woman, and she's fantastic. And I think she is deserving of all the good things in life, and hopefully she continues to get the best things in life. But yeah, she literally and figuratively took my breath away. Will she remember it? Probably not. But at the same, like I said, I remember it, but like I said, she's done how many thousands of meet and greets? It's one of 10,000 meet and greets. Finally, Barry says, I thought I could read on Robert Stone's face as Vaughn talked. I wonder if TNA wants to rehire people. I think he's perfectly happy at NXT collecting a paycheck doing nothing. To be fair, Ed, I'd lose my breath for Cora Jade. Yes, well, you're going to have to wait 6 to 9 months, potentially a year, to lose your breath over Cora Jade again, because that's the next time we're going to see her. Dijak versus Trey Bearhill. What'd you think?
This was really fun. Like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. I feel like even with Dijak being the veteran and getting that win, it just felt like it was such a good showcasing for Trey, though. And I really like how we're able to like see a little bit of him the way we did, because obviously we didn't get him during the tournament. So yeah, very good showcasing for him. I thought after the match in itself, it was also interesting that Trey gets attacked by Lexis King, which is what brings up what you said earlier about the match happening, probably tag team match sometime soon.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I thought Trey held his own, but then again, it's Dijak. Dijak doesn't have bad matches, so it's not a surprise that it was a good match. But at the same time, I thought that Trey really did well in there with Dijak. Nothing looked out of place. It looked like these guys were ready for each other. I'm excited to see more of Trey Bearhill.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way he comes to the ring. Again, Chief J Strongbow, Tatanka. It's that Native American wrestling vibe that we've seen in the past that I think is very interesting. And again, very different from what we see from Eddie Thorpe, which I think is it's good, and it's a good thing. There are two characters who are portraying the same type of ethnicity, but in different ways because they're different tribes. And as Astrid said, just because they're the same ethnicity doesn't necessarily mean that they're the same kind of people. So I think it's very nice to see two different versions of a Native American character with neither being a bad stereotype. Because as long as they continue to portray good things and they're authentic. Again, we've been saying it for a long time on this show. Mm-hmm. Authenticity. We said it with Hit Row. Hit Row felt authentic to the people that were in it. We said it with Legado del Fantasma, the LDF. That felt authentic to them. With the exception of the name Santos Escobar, they felt authentic to who they are and what they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing it here with Eddie Thorpe. We've been talking about the authenticity of his character and the way it feels. We're talking about now the authenticity of Trey Bearhill and what he feels like. These are good and positive things that are coming forward. Exactly. Mike the Rep. Can you imagine Vince getting his hand on these two? But see, here's the thing. I think Trey Bearhill is doing what Vince would have done. I think that this is Sean and Hunter kind of doing the Vince thing, because this is Tatanka. This is Chief J Strongbow. This is that Native American that we're used to seeing on the wrestling screen. Like, it's not as offensively off-putting as Tatanka was at certain times in that run, but I think it's a fair comparison. The best comparison I can think of is Tatanka. And even Tatanka wasn't a bad comparison, because at least Chris Chavis is Native American. Vince got that one right. Like, it was one of Vince's better bad decisions, which is he made him Native American. I mean, Tatanka never got scalped as far as I can remember. I think the only time he ever cut his hair is when he joined the Money Inc. But anyways, that was fantastic. We then get my other favorite backstage segment of the night, Josh Briggs and JBL. Oh, this made my heart go bump bump. It was great. So Josh Briggs is watching his match back with Ora Mensa. And he's trying to figure some things out. And JBL comes walking up. And he's like, JBL, do you have any advice for me? JBL being another big guy, strong guy. And more importantly, as JBL says in a moment, he's the one who put him in the Iron Survivor qualifier. So he saw something in him. What does he think he should do? And JBL says, it's not about what I want. It's not about what I see. You don't need to watch your old matches. We need to see who you are. And you're not going to find that in your old matches. You're not going to find that in anything else. We need to see who Josh Briggs is. I got rid of the beer. I got rid of the playing cards. And I showed the world who I was when I became a wrestling god. And he's like, I can't wait to see what Josh Briggs will become. Yay. Yeah. This is fantastic. They've broken up the JBBJ. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen are now completely different groups, completely different people. Fallon Henley's off on her own little island too. It's great. They're all separate. And now Josh Briggs can get the push he should have gotten when he was in the breakout tournament when his first round match was against Carmelo Hayes. We're finally going to see what that character should have been a year ago, or almost 2 years ago at this point. We're finally going to see it now. I love this segment. I thought it was great. Any thoughts?
Yeah. No, like you said, I like not only that, but like tying it up to the Iron Survivors. Like I saw something in you, and if I can see it, then you should be able to see it too. And I like somebody like JBO coming up here, like he says, like, oh, you chose me because I'm one of the big guys. Like, yeah, not only that, but there's more to it as well. And to have somebody like JBO being one of those people saying is like, I picked you for a reason. Let me show you why I picked you. And then you show me what I picked you too. But it's nice to see him getting that moment of like, hopefully now we'll see him flourish on his own, do something even better than what he was doing JBBJ, and just have that spotlight for himself, because that's something I've been hoping to see from him. See him like be himself, but like be original as well, and give him something different. It's about time.
Yeah, I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be fun to see what, and hopefully that this is allowing Josh Briggs to kind of bring this up and, like I said, build his own character like Baron Corbin. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to give him all of the freedom that they gave Corbin, but I kind of think they're kind of letting him change who he is and not be who he was. And I think that's a really good thing. Barry Monkey says, I think he comes out next week dressed as Lyra Valkyria. Yeah, that could be it. I doubt it, but it could be it. Nice job, Barry. I appreciate it. We then start getting entrances for the Battle Royal. But first, the Candy Crew is back. Yay, Candy Crew. I'm sorry, the No Quarter Catch Crew. And they have a long, almost black and white promo about the No Quarter Catch Crew and what it means to give no quarter and to be part of the Catch Crew, and how they're going to train, and how they all now have no quarter clauses in their deals to figure out who's going to be No Quarter Catch Club and whatever and bullshit. Yada, 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 yada. Back to basics is all I have written down on my notes. What did you think of the No Quarter Catch Crew, or the Candy Crew as I call them?
I mean, in a sense, it's a good way for us to, like, it keeps reminds us of the group. But I'm not interested in the group, if that makes sense. It still doesn't catch my interest. That's the only thing. But I like having that we get a background to them, and I like seeing that. And it's like, even though we're not on the show tonight, don't forget about us. This is what we're all about. But yeah.
And again, Mike brings up what I've been bringing up every week on here, that No Quarter Catch Crew is essentially Catch Point, and Catch Point was much better in Evolve when he did it, when he had the likes of Matt Riddle and others in Catch Point, which I still don't understand why they don't use. WWE bought Evolve. They have the rights to all the Evolve stuff. Gulak works for them. Unless Gulak's the only one who has the rights and refuses to let them use it, there's no reason why they shouldn't be calling this Catch Point. Rant over. This is then where we got the Trick apology, where he talks about doing double duty. And then we get next week's matches. We get a women's title contract signing between the winner of the Battle Royal and Lyra Valkyria. We get a graphic for Braun and Baron versus Nathan and Axiom. I have written in my notes Trick Mello and LWO, but I don't know if that's happening next week.
No, I thought it was where there was no graphic for that.
So it's 2 weeks from Sunday. So does that means they have 2 shows? So that means Mello and Trick and the LWO are wrestling on the go home show to Vengeance Day for the final spot in that tournament. It sounds like.
Yeah, looks like
It's at this point in the show that WWE confirms the ACL tear on the house show for Cora Jade. And then this is also where they go ahead and give us the fake kayfabe story that Wren Sinclair, otherwise formerly known as Maddie Renkowski, went ahead and injured Cora Jade when it was in fact a title match against Lyra Valkyria where this happened at the Dade City House show. And then we get to the Battle Royal. Now, Astrid, I have written down all of the eliminations by who was eliminated and why. Barry says, "Oh, no, a contract signing. Wonderful. Nice toilet break." Yeah, probably. Wren is awesome. I still have no idea who Maddie Renkowski is other than her work tonight. And based on her work tonight, good job. I like her. She's fun. All right, so I'm just kind of waiting for my ad break to end on my side. So before we talk about this, what did you think of the Battle Royal as a whole without going too much into it?
Mhm.
The Battle Royal portion, not the Fatal 4-Way, just the Battle Royal portion.
Yeah. What I love about it is that it was so like action packed. There was no moment for like breathing in here, to be honest. And what I've always loved about NXT Battle Royals is the part that whatever eliminations happen, those are the storylines we get afterwards. If they don't have a current storyline, this starts building it. And it's nice to see that happening during the show as it is. And so many girls got to have so many spotlights. I even pointed out, even on Twitter, and I pointed out to you, it's like interesting how this is Maddie's debut, and look how far they put her in the match as well. That's another thing that it was interesting because obviously we had somebody, for example, like Adriana, who was also her NXT debut, and she got eliminated before Maddie did. So I thought it was interesting to point that out towards the end and pointing out the people that were the last 5, and she was one of those too. And I kept thinking, it was like, I like what I think about it this week. It's like their version of the Royal Rumble because obviously not all these girls are going to be in the Royal Rumble. Maybe some of them will. But overall, that is pretty interesting. So many spotlights, and I love seeing people like Lash and Izzy showing off their power during this whole thing. Kiana showing her speed and power towards the end of the match too. And Blair with that knee strike to Karmen, it looked nasty the way she did, and her selling was on point. And Ariana Grace staying on character the way she did. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. Roxanne winning was not something that I thought was going to happen, to be honest. But at the end, I kept thinking, and that's why I asked you before we went on the air, is like, did she ever get a rematch for the championship she never lost? It's like, not only is that one of the points for me, but the fact that this could be the last thing we see of Roxanne at NXT before she probably goes to the main roster, because I feel like the Royal Rumble will probably see her maybe at the Rumble, and then who knows if after that we'll probably have her in the main roster sometime soon. So I think this is the last we see of Roxanne in NXT. So I think it also it makes sense to me why it was her. I mean, it could have been anybody though, but yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, so while I'm looking up the rocks, hold on, I hit the wrong button. There we go. We do have our wonderful friend Barry saying, "I really enjoyed the main event. They copied Impact. I mean, to an extent, they didn't really copy Impact, but they did a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It might be possible that Maddie just slipped into Cora's spot. So they made it very clear.
Yeah,
both things happen. I agree
Mhm.
that it based on what we've said, you could say that they just slipped her in because of Cora Jade's injury.
Mhm.
No, they attributed the injury to Maddie or to Wren Sinclair, and then said Wren Sinclair has also taken Cora Jade's spot. So it wasn't just, like I said, so unless Vic just accidentally slipped to the tongue, it looks like they used this to be able to, this kayfabe. They made Wren Sinclair the kayfabe injury in order to go. Oh no, absolutely.
No, we know. Yeah.
I mean, there's that too, but I think that they would have just pivoted to somebody else, anybody else, if they really needed to, just to fill a spot. I think this was a a purposely done thing, that they're high on her as a talent. And so they used the injury to Cora Jade to push her way quicker than they would have originally, because now they can make her a big deal by using the Cora Jade injury to slide her way up the card and kind of do it. Whereas that's why she lasts to the top 5. Because I think Cora Jade was going to, I'll be honest, was going to win this match. I think this was all done within the last 2 days. They made a decision on Roxanne winning this match.
And to know, we obviously had Cora missing because of the injury, but in the match in itself, we had no Nikita, no JC Jane, and no Tiffany either. But imagine how we have 20 ladies in this battle royal as it is, plus the 3 that are missing. And once I looked at that roster, just the roster alone in the ring, I thought, I like how they're all different. This is one of my favorite thing. They're all different. They all have something different and unique to them, and I love that more than anything.
Like they're saying, she's a former NWA Women's Tag Champ. She should be higher in this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Like I agree. From everything I've heard, she's a very talented. But NXT is one thing. Very rarely do women's talent get pushed to the very top of that roster right off the bat. It typically takes some time where they build them up to make sure that they know what they've got before they build them. Again, part of that is because they don't typically take in highly trained indie women in the women's division a lot anymore. A lot of the women's division lately has been taken in via the NIL, or they're people who they're bringing in from other sports who they're teaching wrestling to, whether it be a Tiffany Stratton, whether it be bringing in a Nikita Lyons, who is a, karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, actress, singer, all the different things that Nikita is. Wrestling was not one of them. I mean, yes, she was in WoW Superheroes, but that doesn't really count.
Yes, it does count.
Obviously, the great Ariana Grace stole the show with that amazing elimination. Ariana Grace was fantastic in this. And yes, eliminating that was the way. As much as they bring in the NIL, they need the Maddies and the Camille's to balance things out. I agree. And that's why I think we're going to I really think we're getting Julia, and I think we're getting Camille too. I think NXT is getting both. And I think the NXT women's division this time next year is going to be so fucking stacked that even Stardom will have a hard time competing with the talent in the women's division come next year. But I'm now going to go through as quickly as I can all of the eliminations, who was eliminated and by who in this match in order. Jakara Jackson eliminated by Gigi Dolin. Rizzo eliminated by Lash Legend. Jada eliminated by Izzi. Stevie was eliminated by, oh crap, that's a bad one. I have Stevie eliminated by Stevie. Stevie was eliminated by Fallon Henley. Brindley was eliminated by Lola and Elektra. Elektra was then eliminated by Lola. We'll get back to that. Lola was then eliminated by Tatum Paxley. We'll get back to that. Gigi Dolin was eliminated by Blair Davenport. Karmen Petrovic was eliminated by Blair Davenport. Tatum Paxley was eliminated by Lash Legend. Karmen Petrovic was eliminated by Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace was eliminated by Thea Hale. Izzi was eliminated by Roxanne Perez and Fallon Henley. Lash Legend was eliminated by Wren. Kiana was eliminated by Wren. Whoa, Kiana eliminated Wren. And that was the final 4. The final 4 are Roxanne Perez, Kiana, Kelani, and Fallon. I only had 2 mistakes in my notes. That's not bad.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was a really well done battle royal. Like you said, there was a lot of storylines being taught, woven throughout this. But I think the only story we really need to talk about through this, with the exception of the Fatal 4-Way, the absolutely complete breakdown of Karmen, of Elektra Lopez and Lola Vice. Kapoof.
It was building from the beginning of the episode. It really was. I love that part because I knew it was happening because she was holding on to Elektra in such a way that I was waiting for her to swing her over the way she did. And she did it. And then she threw her over. She's like looking at her like, what the heck? And then when she gets eliminated, they just start fighting like right there. And then I was like, this is happening soon. Yeah, I had a feeling with the way of the wording it was gonna happen sooner or later. The way of like the three-way, like one of us is gonna make it, and we've had little hints and everything, and even Lyra pointed it out last week. So to see it exploded here, I was like, yeah, this is exactly how it should have been. It's not like, oh, we're tag team partners, we're gonna be okay, we're gonna forgive each other because it happened. It's like, no, you just cost me a title shot. I should be mad at you. Another one that I wanted to point out too is the part of Izzy helping well, not it was Izzy helping Kiana, but we also had Karmen helping out Thea a lot too because of what happened earlier with the NXT Anonymous. So she was gonna get eliminated, but Karmen is the one that helped her out, and with Blair, and that's what Blair hit it with her finish of the knee strike, and she just rolled her back in. And that's what Ariana eliminated when she saw her as an easy target. But I like having that moments of like she actually helped Thea quite a few times during the match, just like Izzy did with Kiana as well. It happened quite often there too.
Mike the ref. Lola has that contract. Elektra going to be dumped as fast as she was dumped from Legato. Ooh. I still feel bad for Elektra Lopez that she did not get to go up when the rest of Legato went up. Zelina still doesn't like even tonight. Zelina still doesn't feel like she fits with that group, and it's weird. The Fatal 4-Way was good. I really liked that they got about 6-8 minutes. It felt like a real match. Like they got decent time. The women's battle royal got the last 30 minutes plus minutes of this
30
show.
plus, yeah.
Like with entrances and all that the televised entrances and the ones that happened off screen. But they got a good chunk of time for this. This battle royal was not just a, hey, let's do this real quick and let's eliminate 18 of these people with no issue or 15 people with no issue and then, settle down to a last couple. No, they took their sweet time. And this was well developed, well choreographed, well done. I think I said this to you. The reason why I think Nikita was out of this was because of the fact that they were worried about so many younger green talents being in this match and so little room in the ring that they didn't want anything bad to happen to Nikita's knee again. Which is honestly a smart idea for somebody that's just coming back from a knee injury. You don't necessarily need to subject her to this.
Yeah, and we also had Thea, who had a really nice spotlight. I feel probably one of the best out of all because she had a spotlight of like all the people laying down the ring, and it gets to hit everybody in the ring like dominoes almost. It's just nice to see her getting that moment and even like shaking the ropes too. But she got a really nice spotlight compared to a lot of people, and even towards the end, Kiana, like where she was just hitting all these girls in every single corner, and the way she was running so quickly, I was like, holy moly, girl! I don't know how she does it, but she did it.
Mike the ref also saying they got a 15-minute overrun. Yeah, they had a little bit extra on the overrun tonight. They typically get anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. They got a little bit more this week. I love the fact that it just made sense. Everything that they did in the Battle Royal made sense. They seemed to have a reason to do everything they did. Jada saving Kelani when Kelani gets knocked off and she gets like jumps into Jada's arms and Jada didn't drop her and she put her on the table like I thought she was going to drop her. Like that was great. And then having Kelani. The only thing I hate about that Kelani spot is they did it in the commercial break.
Yeah, I keep forget. I forgot about Kalani's spot too. The way she like she landed on the commentary and did like that Naomi thing of walking the barricade and then jumping like Coffey. I was like, chef's kiss. That was beautiful. Even though I wish we could have seen more, like a lot more of it.
I wish they would have done it live. They showed this the entire thing on review after the commercial break. I just wish they would have done it live. It's so much better to do something like that live because not that I'm rooting for her to fail, but the idea that she could possibly have failed is so much better to talk about than to do it live. And Mike's right. They put it in the commercial break in case she failed and they could live reshoot. The problem is you're doing it in front of a live crowd who is going to put it on Twitter if they do that.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. I get the point. I agree entirely with what you've said. That being said, like, it'd be hard to do it in front of a live crowd during television to redo it because as soon as that thing comes back from break, that crowd is going to be chanting, "You fucked up, you fucked up, you fucked up." It's a lot of pressure to put on Kelani Jordan, a young wrestler. But again, I said this to Astrid, and I'm going to say it, and I know it's going to come off the wrong way. I hate, with an H, I hate the decision for this to be Roxanne Perez. I would have preferred any of the other 3 options in this match, in this Fatal 4-Way, to have won this match than Roxanne. She was my 4th choice of the 4 people in this match to win this. I would have rather seen with a babyface champion. I think Kiana makes a lot of sense to have that match. With Lyra Valkyria kind of being able to wrestle whoever and just kind of go with it, I think Fallon Henley would have made a ton of sense, and I really kind of wanted Fallon to win. And then this Kelani Jordan. I don't know how she would respond in a big situation like that, so it would have been nice to see what she does in that big spot. I would have liked to have seen, because remember, her biggest opportunity so far has been wrestling against Lola Vice in the breakout finals. Like, I would have liked to have seen that.
Wait, for
spot.
Kelani, you mean?
Yeah, Kelani. That's the biggest thing.
Wasn't she in the Iron Survivor too?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big one too.
Did she get any points?
Still, not a lot of people get to go in there and do it. Yeah. True.
Mike says, simple reason to agree with Ed. Does anybody expect Roxanne to win the title? No, probably not.
Do I expect it? No. Do I want it? Yes.
Like Astrid says, this is her last hurrah. I almost guarantee she's in the Rumble. Almost guarantee that Roxanne Perez is in the Rumble, and after ball tears of joy hearing Roxanne's music hit when she goes into the Rumble. But by the way, if you're sitting in the media section, you've got to try to not bawl your eyes out when you see Zelina Vega, when you see Roxanne Perez.
Don't remind me.
You see AJ Lee. No, we're not talking about Sting in his shitty last match. I'm still pissed that in the career of Sting, we're ending it with those 2 fucking knuckleheads.
Okay, we're not talking about that. No. Okay, we're doing NXT. We're almost done. Let's go.
All right. And with that, the Lyra Valkyria comes out, and Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria stare each other off, and that's how NXT ends. Astrid, where can the good people find you?
Thank you, Mike. I'm like, it's already almost 2 hours. Come on, Ed. I want my bed already. Well, you can find me on my Twitter and Blue Sky. That's what I'm like. I kept thinking, what's the other one? Astrid Pizarro, and the Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. Within the next few weeks, not yet because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm going to the TNA tapings. So when the TNA tapings air, I'll be posting the pictures then and the videos of whatever I get. But yeah, and then TNA this weekend, and then the Rumble next weekend. So we got 2 weeks of wrestling. I'm really excited.
Not only 2 weeks of wrestling, 2 weeks of media wrestling.
Yeah.
Let's not sugarcoat this. You are a member of the media for both of these events.
Yeah.
Yes, Astrid is doing lots of fun things. And remember that with Astrid, you can go ahead and find her shirt. You can go ahead and purchase it right here with this QR code, or you can go right here to foryourwear.com/Astrid-Pizarro-/ And of course, if you want, you can go ahead and use, if you're shopping on WWEshop.com for anything from the Rumble, this is going to be great merch coming out of the Rumble. You can go ahead and use this QR code to use Astrid's WWE shop link like she did earlier this week when she bought the best-selling shirt on WWEshop.com, the R-Truth Judgment Day shirt. It's fantastic. I love it. It's great. Go ahead and use this QR code. It doesn't cost you any more to use this QR code to shop with this WWE shop, but you kick a little bit back to Astrid so she can have a little bit more money to go ahead and spend at the Rumble. You can also find me on Twitter at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. I simulcast all of my Our Local Establishment shows on there. And speaking of those shows, sorry, on Thursday night, you can go ahead and catch me and my other tag team partner, Andre C., as we talk all things Echo on this week's episode of Marvel Talk, as we're also getting ready to do an MCU Rebound episode of the Incredible Hulk in our second episode of our MCU Rewatch series of MCU Rebound. So definitely go ahead and check that out. And then next Tuesday, you'll find me and the lovely Astrid Pizarro back once again as we go ahead and talk all things NXT.
And he doesn't know, but next week it's Ed's birthday celebration. Woohoo!
It is not Ed's birthday celebration next week.
It is.
It is not. It is 1000% not.
It is.
Barry says, I missed that. Sting is wrestling two knuckleheads.
Oh,
That's
no.
terrible. He should be wrestling some true grace like the young. We're not going to do it. The show is already an hour and 50 minutes long. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. We are going to raid. I think we're going to go ahead and raid JT Dunn, but I have to go ahead and follow him on the Twitch side. So, Astrid, if you can go ahead and vamp for me for a couple minutes, talk about Sting's last match against the knuckleheads known as the Young Bucks, that would be great.
Well, we didn't mention this earlier, so I will point it out here. Technically, these are the finals for the Dusty Classic, so now we get the visual of, even though they didn't announce it, but we got the LWO versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, Baron and Braun. I'm trying not to mix up the names now. Versus Axiom and Nathan, and like we said earlier, this is the graphic at the end for the women's title for the Battle Royal. And I love, as I mentioned to Ed before the show started, I love how just in this graphic alone, there's 19 women in this roster. Look how different they all are. I love this already. But yeah, that was wonderful to see. I just wanted to point that out. Did that give you enough time?
I think so. I'm just trying to.
You got
Hold on. There we go. So, for those that don't know, on Friday I went to independent wrestling show in the area, and I got to see a wonderful wrestler that I've been watching for years on their Twitch streams, JT Dunn, and he is streaming right now. So we're going to go ahead and raid him. So thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. I am sending raid 1. Gotta wait 5 more seconds to send raid 2. Raid 2. All right. And we will see you all next week. For anybody who's still here, have a good night. Goodbye.